Can we talk about reaching a point in life where something's got to give?
Can we talk?
It happened to me many years ago. I was on my way home from work and I was miserable. I remember being in my car just bawling my eyes out. Um, as I drove home, I hated my home. I had an upstairs neighbor that literally was driving me crazy every night. Wasn't her fault. She just had a good entertaining life where she entertained her gentlemen callers like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Um, and she had a squeaky bed. So I would be woken and I would find myself lying there waiting for the entertaining to end so the three of us, yes, the three of us, could all fall asleep finally. I felt alone. I had friends, but I felt like no one was there. Correcting myself now, looking back at it, I just realized we all were dealing with our own stories. We were all trying to figure our own way through, and it's no one's fault. But I felt alone, that I couldn't depend on anyone. I had been engaged, ended an engagement, met someone new, proceeded because I was still broken to torture that individual until they'd walked away. And I deserved it because when you're broken and you're trying to figure yourself out, you do not need to be bringing someone else into that chaos. And I was in my career. I had kind of plateaued in my career. It wasn't that I wasn't working with a good company. I just plateaued and there was nothing to look forward to. So there I was, one spring evening, driving along Northwest Highway in Dallas, miserable, depressed, and crying. And for whatever reason, I just recall pulling into a church parking lot. There was a church in Dallas called Lover's Lane. And I pulled into that parking lot and I parked my car, turned my car off. And at the time, they had like a small chapel that was on the campus. And I found myself walking to that chapel. It was dimly lit at the time. And I just walked to the front pew and I sat down. Side note, this is not going to be a salvation story, so don't worry. I sat down in my pew and I proceeded to just bawl and I could not stop crying. I just could not stop the tears. It was as if like floodgates opened up. And it's like as if everything I had been holding inside of me, all of the lies I had been telling myself, all of the plans that I had been telling myself that I had to stick to, this had to be my life. This is what I planned out. This is what I'd been thinking about since I was a little girl. I just had to give it up. I had to release it. I had to just kill it off. I had to kill the me that sat there in that moment. I had to let it all go. And I feel like that part of me in that moment, it did pass away. The person who existed in that moment died. And I gathered my thoughts, and as if on cue, in a almost comedic way, I looked to my side and there was a box of tissue. And I wiped my face and I stood up and I knew in that moment that the person that had walked into that place was not the same person that was walking out. I knew it with everything in my being. And in the 2 months from that moment, I had moved. I was living and working in Manhattan, and my whole life had changed. And guess what? I knew, just as I know now, that I was where I was supposed to be. The smell, my sensories, everything that I felt like this connection. Like I always felt that something had always been off. I felt that I was always like a square peg trying to fit in a round hole. But for the first time, I was having experiences, I was meeting people, and I felt like this is where I'm supposed to be. This is what my spirit, my whatever you want to call it, had been seeking out all along. And then I'm reminded, as even as I'm telling this story, of years later a quote that I came across by author and professor Joseph Campbell. And he said basically, you must give up the life that you planned in order to live the life that's waiting for you. I hope that resonates with someone. And I would like to leave 3 thoughts with you. The first is you are mortal. You don't have an infinite amount of time. So don't waste it being unhappy. 2, jump. You're going to land. You may not land where you think you are supposed to, but guess what? You might land exactly where you need to be. And 3, dissatisfaction is okay. It just means it's time to pivot. So listen to it. Whenever I'm very sensitive now into energy and things around me, and whenever I feel dissatisfaction, I feel agita about anything, I really stand still. I try to be mindful and know, do I need to pivot? If you've connected with anything that I've said, I would truly love to hear from you. And of course, if you like this video, I hope that you hit that like button. And if you dislike the video, hey, I hope you'll hit that dislike button because I care whether or not I'm connecting with you. One more thing before you go. I plan to do this in a live format in the future and would love for you to join me. I would love to hear your comments and your thoughts as we talk through these topics so we can actually talk on Can We Talk. If you're interested in that, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and look forward to seeing you in the future. Thanks again. Bye now.